And I think the defensive player of the year is in Atlanta.
Period.
1 through 3.
Yeah.
One of us. So you can check the stats too.
Angel Reese is becoming the voice of the Atlanta Dream. And after joining this team, being an anchor, bringing them energy, she's been putting her mark on their games. The game they needed to clinch the playoffs was against the Mercury. And after the game, she named herself, Rhyne Howard, and Jordin Canada as deserving Defensive Player of the Year consideration. And while it may sound like a bold request, Atlanta has the top 2 steals leaders in the entire WNBA. Rhyne Howard at number 1 and Jordin Canada at number 2. They are leading the league in steals. Now, Angel Reese is right behind them in totals and in averages, but you got Kayla McBride and Natasha Howard right behind her, so she'll probably fluctuate. But on this one team, you have 2 of the league's top thieves, and Angel Reese says she should be the 3rd name in the mix. And let's be real, she's not new to this conversation. She was Defensive Player of the Year for Unrivaled, voted on by her peers and coaches, so she's more than familiar with this side of the ball. Her coming into Atlanta, this being her first year, she's already become a defensive anchor, building this new identity for the Dream exceptionally fast. Even her own teammates have said she's brought out some of the best play in them.
Angel's annoying as hell to play against, so it's great that she's on this side. We've obviously had our fair share of battles, but what I'm really excited about is her competitiveness. Like on the court, when you're going against her, like you have to make sure that it's on for every night. But like she taught cash money, so you got to make sure you're on. So being able to go against that in practice and see that and it be on your side, like it's funny. So
we're getting a very impressive season from Alicia Gray, debuting her own PEs and having signature goggles with Nike.
She just plays so hard. I mean, she's a great person, fun to be around, like always positive, always hyping the team up, and every day she comes in ready to work, and she carries that energy about herself that you want to match. Like you don't want to be left behind and not have that same energy. So she gives you that energy where you want to work hard and play hard every night.
And then you have the biggest argument for this Defensive Player of the Year situation in Rhyne Howard. Outright lead in the WNBA in steals per game with 3.2. That's actually insane. And on top of being such a defensive specialist, she's averaging just under 19 points a game and almost 4 rebounds, making her one of the best two-way players in the W right now. She had 6 steals against Washington, the kind of thing you make sure stays on your resume when you're arguing for this award. When you're looking at steals in Rhyne Howard's stat line, it's always filled up. Averaging 3 a game means she's going game after game, getting 2, 3, 4, and in 2 games this season, getting 6 steals in a game. At 6'2", she's got a pretty decent wingspan, and she's extremely athletic. Even if she's not defending the best player on the opposite team the entire game, she's usually on the ball handler in clutch time if it comes down to a single play. She helped shut down Dallas when she stayed on Paige Beckers, and can really be the head of that defensive snake when they're playing teams like the Indiana Fever, Phoenix Mercury, and Seattle Storm, just in a position to give these guards a hard time down the floor. Usually this is done kind of quietly because she's so effective on offense, but usually when you can get a good game on both sides of the ball from Rhyne Howard, the Dream are in a pretty good position. And then there's Jordin Canada, the resume nobody really talks about enough. She's made the all-defensive first team twice, a 2-time steals leader, and this may be new to some fans, but not her peers. She's second in the league in total steals, just behind Rhyne Howard, and she's racking up the steals on her own every game, giving you 2, 3, 4. Her season high this year is 7 steals against the Las Vegas Aces. And we're not talking about somebody with a crazy wingspan. We're talking about somebody that's fast and uses her IQ to be in the right position at the right time. And one of the best things about Jordin Canada being that great on defense is it becomes instant offense because she is their point guard. So she's going to expertly lead that break and get the team these fast break points, game in and game out. Also leading in helping her teammates' stats, getting a little bit extra to Rhyne Howard, Alicia Gray, and Angel Reese, who currently leads the league in rebounds per game, ranking 7th in defensive rating, one of only 2 players averaging a double-double, and playing each game a little bit better than the last.
I think just putting the work in and being consistent in my shot and being confident in my shot side. And my teammates been telling me to stay confident and keep shooting throughout the game. Even in first half, I wasn't hitting my shots. They were still telling me to shoot it, and knowing that the law of average, you're going to hit one eventually. So I just try to have that mindset, and the work that I put in is showing.
They had a tough out against Indiana in an overtime loss, but since then they've been on a winning streak. Angel herself has put up a double-double in each game and scored 31 points against Phoenix while putting up 14 rebounds, 10 of them being defensive rebounds. She is literally taking away possessions from her opponent, and with the guard skills she picked up in her early years, she's also able to lead the break, get the ball to the right person on transition, and occasionally hit the three, making that game against the Los Angeles Sparks even more impressive. And that blowout, she had 20 points, 10 rebounds on a perfect shooting night, even hitting all of her threes. And to pile on in that game, she gave them 8 assists. This team is on a roll, and they're going to continue to need this energy from Angel Reese, especially as they've clinched the playoffs. They're getting some of their best basketball out of Alicia Gray and getting Brianna Jones back. This team is on a mission. And while on that mission, they have a solid argument that a player on the Dream should end up with that Defensive Player of the Year trophy. They lead the league in team steals. While we're highlighting 3 individual defenders, they aren't succeeding in isolation. This is a coordinated defensive attack. It's a system, and everybody in Atlanta is bought in. And the fact that they've bought in only highlights how great these players are doing individually. And obviously, to be fair, A'ja Wilson remains elite in her skills, where she's averaging 2 blocks a game. You got Kia Stokes right behind her, and Cameron Brink making a decent effort. None of these players are on both lists, so it will be interesting to see how this plays out. But I do have to give Angel credit for being there for her team. Even if she's not at the top of the list for Defensive Player of the Year, and maybe not even in the conversation for a lot of people. But Rhyne Howard, Jordin Canada, they definitely should be. And just like the MVP problem right now, do you reward the best individual player or the best player in the best defensive ecosystem? Can't say who's going to get it, but we know Atlanta has a good case. Rhyne Howard has the numbers, Jordin Canada has the resume, and Angel Reese has the impact. These players know they have to take a lot of the narrative into their own hand, and I think Angel Reese did a great thing for her teammates, making sure this Defensive Player of the Year conversation is headed in the right direction. Now, we talked a lot about Atlanta specifically because of Angel Reese's comments, but historically, Defensive Player of the Year, that's awarded to a big. Literally only 4 guards have won it in WNBA history. Now, I do think Rhyne Howard has a decent shot. You got Gabby Williams in Golden State playing excellent defense. She's a little further down the steals list than I would like her, but you still have to respect her on defense. But ultimately, you can't talk about Defensive Player of the Year without knowing you're going up against A'ja Wilson. There's really little competition with her this year, on top of being a leading candidate for MVP. So she's doing her job offensively, but on defense, she is absolutely terrifying. Changing schemes, shots, and passes just because she's on the floor. She dominates the defensive categories. 2.3 blocks per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, 1.6 steals per game. And that's just on paper. So she's impressive for the voters and with the numbers, but especially on the floor. She's a threat no matter where she is, whether she's guarding you or she's playing help defense. A'ja Wilson is the one to watch out for. And on top of being such a prolific defender, that's what makes her out in front for the narrative and for the storyline as well. She's putting up the stats, and she looks like a defensive juggernaut when you're watching her. So you'll definitely get some votes for Rhyne Howard, maybe Jordin Canada, Angel Reese, and even Gabby Williams. But I think even for Defensive Player of the Year, it's A'ja Wilson's to lose all over again. We get players that are just so great. Sometimes they raise the bar too high for themselves. And in a vacuum, I think she would walk away with Defensive Player of the Year and MVP again.
Able to come up with a deflection and steal, and then Vegas right here. She does it again.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.